Trilogies. We all love them. There can be good ones and there can be bad ones. Today's topic will be dealing with some of my favorite ones and some of my least favorite. Now, I will say, I was thinking this would just be franchises, but then I realized that I was running into the problem of stuff like, the MCU has a bunch of different trilogies in it, and some of them I like and some I don't like. So I'm like, I have to just do trilogies because I want to talk about some good series while not having to just group it in with the ones I don't like too. Same with stuff like Star Wars and other franchises like that has some great movies and then some bad movies. Now, let's get started. I definitely don't hate the Back to the Future movies. I just don't think they're as great as everyone might think. That might come from the first time I watched them, I watched all 3 movies in a row. So it kind of felt like I was watching, the same movie 3 times in a row.
Featuring the one where they travel to the past, beat up the bully, fix the future, and set up the sequel. The one where they travel to the past, beat up the bully, fix the future, and set up the sequel. And the one where they travel to the past, beat up the bully, fix the future, and leave open the possibility for a sequel.
As you can see, I put it on the bottom of my list because I still think these movies are enjoyable to watch. They're just not perfect. Yeah, you can feel free to check them out. What can I say about this trilogy that hasn't been said before? It's great. Some stellar performances, and it's an incredible lesson on how to make superhero movies. But I just don't think it's as perfect as everyone might think. As you can see, I put it on the bottom of my list because of this. And I'm not just talking about The Dark Knight Rises. I think the whole series has some problems, including with the Joker. Before you guys get mad, let me just explain. I love Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker. In fact, I kind of idolize the guy due to my desire to want to play the Joker in a movie sometime. But I just feel like the Joker needed more time to shine. Overall, I think this trilogy's good, it's just not great, and it could have been better. So, I still think it's a good time, I just don't think it's as perfect as everyone might think. A friend of mine, back in high school, asked me to review the Maze Runner trilogy, and overall, my thoughts were, it's lacking in good storytelling. The first one felt like a Hunger Games ripoff. The second one, just an average zombie apocalypse movie. And the third one, normal action movie. To be honest, I completely forgot about this trilogy. That's how forgettable these movies are. The acting's okay. The cinematography is passable at best, but it brings nothing new to the table. I've heard the books are better, but to be honest, after watching the movies, it turned me so much off of it that I don't mind bother wasting my time on the books unless a bunch of people just beg me to read them. So overall, this trilogy is just forgettable and it brings nothing new to the table. Captain America, the first Avenger, the Star-Spangled Man with a Plan, one of the greatest superheroes in my mind, with a trilogy that illustrates this perfectly. Most people will say it is his second film that kicks off their love for the character. But I would argue that I actually prefer the first film. Not that the second film isn't great, I just prefer the simpleness of the first film. As for the third film, I enjoy a lot seeing Cap go up against Iron Man due to my hatred for the character of Iron Man. But I also enjoy seeing Cap being the one against the government because it just shows a growth in the character. My biggest complaint with the trilogy is probably that the first film is the only one that's actually a true solo film, with Winter Soldier having Black Widow in it, another Avenger to just steal some of the spotlight, and then a Captain America Civil War is literally just an Avengers movie with the name Captain America in it. When they're dealing with the Winter Soldier, I feel like the main reason why they put her in, I feel like some people make the argument of if she wasn't in, they would just complain about why wasn't Black Widow in it. It makes sense why she would be in a movie like this when it's dealing with S.H.I.E.L.D. But I would also say, wouldn't it be the same argument for why they should have put Hawkeye in. I feel the real reason why they put her in that is literally just because the females wanted a solo film, right? Not even just the females. Like, I wanted, ever since I started watching the superhero movies, I wanted to see the female superheroes get their spotlight. But I feel like Marvel was too afraid to actually make a solo film, so they just kicked her into one of the guys' films, which is kind of sexist and a problem. So overall, I like the trilogy. I just don't think it's perfect, and I wish they had given Cap more time to shine in his own solo films. I love the character, and I wish we had more time to see him than we did. I know. There are 4 movies, so it's a quadrilogy, not a trilogy. But there are only 3 books, and the last 2 movies are kind of just part 1 and part 2 of the same story. Plus, I will say that the second place for my favorite is more than a quadrilogy, so I'm kind of cheating in this video. But back onto the quadrilogy at hand. I love these movies. They're good. They're not perfect, but they're good. The acting's good. The cinematography's good. The story's good. The music is good. But the problem is, I wish they were better. They're good. I wish they were great. And that's why I couldn't put them in second place. So, yeah. I hate how bad these films are. Spoiler alert, I'm a big Tolkien fan, and I feel like Peter Jackson did my main man dirty. The Hobbit is a 304-page children's book. Why is there an R-rated version of this? Plus, Bilbo was knocked out for most of the Battle of Five Armies. So that means that Peter Jackson had to come up with all that happened there, right? And they didn't do a good job. It's not accurate at all to what could have happened. Back on the part of 304 pages, right? That turns into a runtime of 9 hours. Let's put it this way. Lord of the Rings, if you calculate all 3 volumes up, the Fellowship of the Ring, the Two Towers, and the Return of the King, that's 1,241 pages with a runtime of 11 hours. Which you might say, okay, so the Lord of the Rings is killing it when it comes to that. They're 2 hours more, right? Yeah, but when you put it into page per minute ratio, the Lord of the Rings is only a half a page for 1 minute of screen time, while The Hobbit is over 2 pages per minute of screen time. That's almost 4 times the amount of the Lord of the Rings. Why? I will be honest with you, I was expecting more. But yeah, that's still kind of why for a kid's book. And somehow they removed stuff from the book so they could add more stupid plot lines of love triangles and stuff like that. It's just pointless. And so overall, there's some good visuals, good music, but besides that, this is not a trilogy I'm planning on checking out anytime soon. A lot of people's gonna hate me for this, but I don't like the original trilogy. Don't know why I think I put it higher than the sequel trilogy. Mainly, that's probably because people can see that the sequel trilogy is bad, and no one seems to notice how inconsistent the original trilogy is. Plus, the acting is terrible, the action is mediocre, the characters are not likable one bit. Maybe Han Solo is, but everyone else is terrible. The world building is bland. I guess it has some memorable music and quotes, but besides that, these are not good movies. There was nothing for me to like in them. You may like them, but for me, these are movies I probably will try to not check out again. One ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them, in the land immortal, where the shadows lie. I love these movies. I can't even explain how I reacted when I first watched The Fellowship of the Ring, besides maybe with these movies are great. I love them. And I know, I was just talking trash about Peter Jackson, but I think he started out good. He made a great trilogy. He just decided to tarnish his name by making trash like the bad adaptation of The Hobbit. As for the next two movies, The Two Towers had problems with it, but in the end, it was really good. I almost liked it just as much as the first one. And then The Return of the King, it's another masterpiece to add on to a list of other two masterpieces. That movie is so good, and I don't care what everyone else thinks. Each of these endings was so good, and most of them made me cry the first time I watched them. And I know, I'm a grown man, but that doesn't change the fact how good these are. Overall, this trilogy is made out of incredible masterpieces with amazing action, music, stellar acting, unscopable world building, and gorgeous, breathtaking visuals. These are mine. You might have completely different arguments to me, and if you do, please feel free to comment. Be nice about it, but yeah, you can feel free to comment, especially when it comes to Star Wars fans. Feel free to argue on below just why you think Star Wars is good. I will say that I don't hate the prequels, but I do hate the rest of the Star Wars movies. And I haven't even bothered trying to watch the spin-off stuff. Anyway, so yes, but overall, these are the trilogies I don't like, and these are the trilogies I do. You can have a different opinions than me. Be kind about it, but I would love to hear about it in the comments below. This has been the Movie Night Reviewer. Peter Wary, signing off.